Welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name is Beth Cluth from Ink Art by Beth Cluth. I paint rather abstractly. I like the loose feel of the inks. I like to let the inks do their thing. And I thought I'm going to show how I would paint a bouquet in a vase. I do this in some workshops that I teach. And I just want to show you a couple different techniques for creating one that, like the composition, the vase. There's three components. There's the vase, the foliage, and the flowers. And then also maybe a background, a table or something like that. But I want to go sort of just through the basics of some different ways that I create vases. So I just have some graphics, white opaque paper cut down to a little bit bigger than 5 by 7 so that I can map them in a 5 by 7 map. And I don't know if I'll do 2 or 3. We'll just find out, won't we? So the supplies I have are a variety of alcohol inks. This is a new brand that I've been using, and I'm probably going to switch over to it in most of my workshops this year. It's called Eltanu. I love, they have some blues that, every brand has some of their own colors, but they have such a variety of colors. And it's really nice that their boxes come in almost with their own little swatch card that I cut out, and I keep those. And so I don't even have to make swatch cards. But I really, really love the colors. So I'll be using those tonight. So for this vase, I'm going to use a lot of just dripping. And so I'm hoping you'll be able to see that. I'm not going to use a ton of brushwork. It's mainly going to be out of the bottle, but we'll see what we do. So I have the inks. I have a little bottle of isopropyl alcohol to clean my brushes. I have some palettes. I have just some flat craft brushes and a little detail brush. I have blending solution that I will be using. And this, it truly is a little different than alcohol. And so I really like to use this for certain things. And I have a little coffee stirrers. But actually, if you didn't have coffee stirrers, you could just use your paintbrush. Okay. And I'll show you where that comes in. Okay, so I am just going to go like right out of the bottle. I like to sort of almost draw on the paper. So I'm just going to sort of draw the shape of a vase, right? And now I can use a brush just to sort of spread that around. It can go all the way off to the bottom, or you can have it stop before the bottom. Because I'm on a small piece of paper, I think I'm going to just go all the way to the bottom. And really, I don't want to use a lot, again, I don't want to use a lot of brush strokes. Let's see if I can get a little closer. And then I want to add in some different shades because it just adds more interest. Ooh, 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 look at that color. I love it, love it, love it. So that's a little bit darker there. And then what I might do is just maybe fill in these little holes, but even if they don't, it's sort of pretty. I can even just like sort of dig into that ink that's there to get a highlight on that side. I don't have to worry about a straight top because there's going to be a lot of flowers coming out of it. My big tip is let it do its thing. And that might take 30 seconds. It might take 45 seconds. But you do want to let it do its thing and sort of dry before you keep adding to it. That might be the biggest takeaway of the whole evening or of the whole workshop. Is that you can do a little bit of play with it. But I mean, I just really like having it just show the. So here's a lighter blue. I'm going to try to do this on this side. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I got a beautiful highlight on that side of the vase. I didn't have to paint anything. I just added some ink. maybe a little play. I love that. I don't think I need to do anything more to it. And it's as easy as that. Okay, I want to show another type of vase that I might make and let this dry completely. This one is going to be a very dark vase. I'm going to use some black. Sometimes it's a really nice contrast to have a very dark vase with colorful flowers. So I'm going to just do more like up and down. I just love just sort of drawing on here, right? And have this one come down off the page too. And now I'm going to add just a drop or two of blending solution to sort of get that moving a little bit more. And now I'm going to like just tip it. And I can tip it to the side. I don't worry if I get a lot of gunk down here because the mat will cover that. I think it's a really interesting shape. What I can do is just sort of clean up the edge. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but you know, a little bit straighter. And then while this is still really wet, I'm going to take a paper towel that actually has some texture to it. And I'm just going to pat it down, especially on one side. And when I pick it up, I get the texture of that paper towel on the vase. It's really amazing. Keep going to a clean area. You can't really see it very well far away, but there's texture on there. There you go. And it makes it very interesting. If you want a little bit more texture, what I do is just add a little bit more blending solution, because what you need to do is wet that, get that a little bit more fluid, and then you can do more of the dabbing. Whoa! Woo! That was awesome. Get my do one little line down here. And then just sort of dab that again. And that is a really interesting vase. Again, I like to paint loose, so I don't mind that it looks sort of globby. I actually really love it. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I'll put that aside. And then another kind of vase you can make is something that is maybe textured or patterned, but I still try to keep it really loose. So this one, I'm going to make a round vase. And it's not going to go all the way off the table. Okay, do this. Clean my brush. Oh, I'm going out of focus here. I'm just going to sort of make it round. Doesn't really have to have a, go up a little bit there. And I still sort of want to have a highlight. So to create a highlight on there, an easy way is just to put some blending solution into one of the wells of the palette. Doesn't even matter, you know, I didn't clean my brush, but that does not matter at all. And you just sort of like make a scribble with this blending solution, and you instantly get a highlight. And I just love when you let those inks do their own thing, what they do. Looks a little darker on screen than it really is, but you can see at least the light and darkness of it. Again, I can do a little, just really lightly on the edges. And then what I might want to do is, I'll wait for this to dry a little bit more. Again, it's key. It's really key to just stop, think and work on something that's a little bit more dry, so that when you put in some textures, they're going to stay. They're not just going to blend out. So I have a really pretty little light pink here. Now I'll put that in there. I could also use yellow or something else that would blend with this. So I am going to put that in there. And then even let's say it's just sort of, it's dots. It's just going to be random dots. Let's just say it's that's sort of the texture of the, and then now in here I might make those bigger to sort of highlight that lighter highlight that I had going on there. Very fun. Now when I do something like this that's so, you know, bright and patterned, maybe I'll be a little bit more simple with my my foliage on there. Okay, so we have 3 different vases. I'm going to go back to my first one. And a lot of times I do like to add the foliage before I add some flowers. Not all of it, but some of it, especially down near the vase here. And I find that, you know, if you're using a blue vase, having some green go into it is really no problem. It's when you get to, you know, you have a pink or an orange vase, and then that green might mix with it, might not be as attractive. So I'm going to take 2 greens. I'm going to take a dark green, and I'm going to take a light green. And again, use what you have, just a dark green and a light green. Doesn't matter exactly what the color is. And I'm going to take a small brush here. And I'm going to take this dark green, and I'm just going to create like a leaf shape down here. And then I might create another one like more climbing up like that out of the vase. I can go over that blue, and it can mix in with the blue, no problem. And then what I might do is just come in with a little bit of this green, this lighter green. It adds dimension. It almost acts like a highlight with the light green on top of the dark green. Then sort of thinking about like how big that bouquet might be, I'll just keep adding a little bit of like foliage out here. Not all the way in, because I don't know what I'm going to do with my flowers yet. I'll put something up here. Again, go into that light green, add some highlight. And in the middle here, I might just add a little bit of green, because there's going to be some green in the interior there. It's just very random. I know that I'm going to put some flowers in here, so I'm just putting some green. You know, if the flowers go over the green, it's no big deal. So there I have some green leaves, and you can see the dark and the light textures in there. On this one, I think I'm going to do some long stems instead of just leaves in the background. So I will take, I think I might go with more of a, I'll just use the dark green that I have here. And this might just go like that. I don't even know what kind of flowers I'm going to put on these yet. I just know for this kind of vase. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, my hand was right in the way. like that. And then I have a little bit of green, light green left. I might do something over there. Again, play. Don't get too precise or freaked out about it. Really, with this sort of abstract look, the flowers might end up covering all of those stems anyway, but I just thought I wanted to try that. I'm going to do one more that actually comes off the paper, just to be a little fun. Okay, now I'm going back to my circle pot that has a lot of the different designs on there. With this purplish color, I think I want to use more of the light green. And I think this one is going to, this might have just only a few flowers. I think this one is going to be big, like big leaves. Oh, I didn't clean off there's a lot of alcohol on that brush. There we go. Almost like a potted plant you would have in the house. But somehow I'm going to incorporate some kind of flower in there. Don't forget that, you know, not all the leaves are straight up and down. Ooh, well, that went off the... Whenever I start to see paintbrush marks, that means I'm painting it too much, and so I will just add more ink. Here's some of that purple got pulled into the leaf. Ooh, I sort of like that. Let's put a little bit more over there. I like that a lot. Yeah, take advantage of what is there. And don't feel like, oh, I accidentally pulled all this like reddish color in it. Look at how beautiful that looks. It looks almost like it's a variegated leaf. I can't stop myself now. Okay, that's where we are with that one. I love working on multiple pieces at the same time because you don't get too really invested in one. You know, you're working on multiple pieces, so just gives you a good opportunity to do some things that are different. Another thing I might add to this one, I'll add it later, but it is a little foliage thing that can add a little drama. So now I have my foliage, I have my vase, and I really sort of lost some of my highlight here. So, you know, you can always go back I'm going to go back to that really light blue that I had. I'm just going to come up from the, see what happens there. You can blend out. I can also just sort of tap it, pick up some of that ink. Really lightens up. That's beautiful. Love it. All right, so now I'm going to do some flowers, and my flowers are very, very, they're just very organic, and they're not, you know, what you would consider like painted flowers. So I'm just going to put some out here, maybe one up here. Well, I guess I'm putting one there. I just put these little sort of placeholders. And then it's just easy. You can just dab around like that. This is sort of a reddish orange color. Look, it went into the green. Oh no. It's all good. I think I want to add some other things in there, but if I don't wait for that orangish color to dry, oops, it was all a little wet there. Then whatever other color I use is just going to blend right in with that. Something I might want to do while it is still a little bit wet is just put a little pinky. Oh, it's not too pinky. Maybe I'll even put a little, I know, call me crazy, I'm going to put a little black in those centers. Just a little bit. That one's almost already black. And this one I can just put the black over here, like it's facing out that way. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. I am going to add in another color. I think I'm going to do something yellow. I really love yellow and blue together. So I'll put some yellow in here, a couple dots right there, maybe a little black. Oops. It's all blending in my other color. That's okay. That's the magic. I'm going to just put one down here like a little flower is hanging down there. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to let it go. I actually could have just put yellow into a palette so that it wouldn't do this. Like this yellow is now blending completely over that flower. It's just obliterated it. But you know what? I think you know, I'm going to come back to that. It's a little bit messy now, but it's going to be good. Okay, so now on these, I don't really know. I'm trying to think of, I really like purplish, or like I think a wine color would be really pretty. So I will put some of that in a palette. That's like a deeper wine color. And I'm going to use my big brush. And it still has some orange on it. I don't care. Okay, I'm just going to go in here. And I'm just going to like go right over the top of those green things. Almost like there's little flowers on both sides of each one of these stems. And it's very, very loose. I mean, I'm not trying to be exact. They're just dots that are being put down on both sides of those stems. I like the color together. I like that sort of wine color, even with the green and with the black. Add a little bit more. A few more up here. And because I'm using so much ink on my brush, it's really spreading out. And that's, again, I like to let the inks like do their thing. Now I do know that I'm going to cover up some more of this green. I'm going to just go like this and see if I can get sort of some of that look of a stem back. But just sort of lightly. And I'm going to let this dry. And I'm going to come back in with, I think, a lighter pink to create some highlights. But that's going pretty well. Okay, we're back to our house plant. All right, I think this needs some really beautiful yellow flowers, and maybe just 2 or 3 like sort of focal flowers. So I'll add, and I'm going to keep it sort of simple because I don't want to compete too much with this design down here. So I'm going to use some yellow. I'll clean my brush. I'm going to be ready with a napkin because when I add these in, it's going to mix with the green. It's reactivating all that green. And then I'm just going to dab it. Notice I'm not crinkling it up and just going like this, because every dab should really be on a clean part of the napkin. I'm going to do another one down here. Need a lot of. I'm reactivating everything there. It's getting a little muddy. It's okay. And I'm going to pick it all up. There we go. I'm going to do another one back here. Maybe a little smaller one. So I want some clean napkin. Okay. Awesome. So I have 3 sort of flowers here with a lot of leaves. I might end up adding a few more leaves with a darker tone when the flowers are done. We'll see. All right, now what I can do is I'm just going to drop the yellow on there to get a really nice bright flower. I'm just going to let that spread. I think my table's a little tilted. Perfect. All right, I'm going to let that dry. Okay, back to this one. Uh-oh. The thing I put it on was tilted and my ink sort of flew off there. Well, guess what? This bouquet is now going to get bigger. That's all you do. I can wipe it off if I wanted to, but instead I think what I will do is I'm going to add some more of these big red flowers. And I went over the leaf, it's fine. And then I will do a little bit of yellow up here. And actually when I go to mat this, all those flowers are going to be off the page anyway. Sorry for this glare. I wish I could get, there we go. There, is that better? There we go. But you can sort of see how the shape is just changing. You just have to go with it. When something doesn't work exactly right, just go with what you have. Try to make it work. I like this. I'm going to do a little yellow right there. This definitely needs to just dry a little bit. I will try to get it on something flat instead of tilted so that I don't have to like fix it like that. There we go. There we go. I'm going to just put that down there. Okay. All right, I'm back to this. Now I'm not really loving the black lines in there. You know, again, if you don't love it, it's okay. It's okay. You can always change it. I think I'm going to try to change it with just some blending solution. So I'm putting that in there. And it's a tiny brush, but I have a lot on each, and I'm going to just go I'm making these sort of very loose dots that are maybe in a circle a little bit to say, oh, maybe that's a bloom right there. It's also going to lighten up that black that I'm not super thrilled with. I'm liking what's happening here. Yes, I really am. Look how messy I'm being. Just let yourself go. You'll be surprised. Oh, yeah, I like that a lot. Very much. Okay, right in here, I think I'm going to do a little bit, I don't even care if it has the pink in it. I'm going to do a little bit of this blending solution, just so it's more, I like how it's really light right up there. That's a beautiful highlight. Okay. Whoop. All right, I'm going to leave that for right now. Let that dry. Okay, we are back to our, it's not really a cactus, but it's maybe some sort of succulent with yellow flowers. I'm not really sure. We'll figure it out. But I think what I'm going to do is just add a little darker yellow. To the center. I really like sort of this frilly outline here. But I think if I just put something a little darker, ooh, that's pretty dark. In there. And then as I get out, I'm just doing more dashes. I don't know. Have you seen flowers on cactuses? They're very, I don't know, sort of frilly. And this one, I'm going to say this one's here and this one is in the back. It's a little bit brown for me, but so what? When you first put it down, don't worry about it. You can always go back over it. But it does give each of those flowers a little definition. Now I think what I want to do is I'm going to just use that same dark yellow and I'm going to add that into the leaves a little bit. Just a little bit. And then I have a little bit of this dark green left too. I might just do a little darkness in there. Maybe just on one side. It definitely needs something a little dark here, especially down here underneath the flower. Almost like sketching, I guess. You know, and again, if you don't like it, then go over it with something else. There we go. All right, putting that aside. Now this is going to be my last little touch up on all three of these. I had mentioned using a coffee stirrer. I think what I'm going to do with these bigger flowers that are just sort of a glob. For right now, I'm just going to use up this yellow that I have. I'm just going to put a dot. Where I think there should be flowers. I know. And they're turning into like little round flowers. You can even go back in to the ones that I already did to create another circle. But what I want to show you is you can do the stems in the water a little bit. I just have a little sheet of clear plastic. This is also from Graphics. And what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see, let me get a fresh napkin here. And I'm going to put some of this light green, like just on this plastic. And then I'm going to use this coffee stirrer. I'm going to use this as a palette. So I have this green on here, and I'm just going to use this to sort of mush this around so I can get, I'm getting some green ink on the coffee stirrer. Put that aside, and then what I can do is just sort of touch down. And it sort of makes it look like this vase is filled with water, and now we can see some of the stems. Just a fun little touch to add. And on this one, I think I am going to add a little thing at the bottom. So I am just going to use up like what I have. So I have some of this green on here. I'm going to add some of this yellow. This dark yellow, I'm going to add some of this dark green. I'm just going to, I might just add in a little bit of, I like to add some of the color that's in the flowers. So this is my little plastic thing where I've just sort of mixed up this whole concoction. It's a little brownish orange. It'll be fine for my first pass at a table. Okay, so I will use this. I'm just going to have a table that's a little bit going behind it. And that's as simple as it is. It looks like a sort of like a wood table. You could put some texture in it if you wanted. But I would say that is my first painting done. Now we'll go to, this almost reminds me of something a little bit like Japanese, or I don't know. They're not really orchids. They're not really any real flower at all. But I don't think I'm going to do anything with a vase, or I'm sorry, with a table on this one. I just like the simplicity of it. So I would consider that one done. And on this one, I think I need to brighten up the yellow on these flowers. That dark yellow that I added was a little bit too brown. So again, sometimes just putting a dot in the middle and letting that go. I can even use a little bit of a light pink. Ooh. Just thought I'd bring in something a little bit different. Tie it in with the redness in here. That's sort of cool looking. Get that. I'm almost going, if I could keep going in narrower and narrow into these flowers, I also have a coral. Oh, let's just go for it. This is pretty wet. I might have to do this one with a brush. Ooh. It says coral, but that is pretty neon, I'll tell ya. Go in here. Ooh. Woo. Sometimes I get surprised. That looks pretty cool. I like how they're very light in the center. With that little bit of orangey. Very nice. This one, because it didn't go all the way to the bottom, I think I am going to do a table. I think, again, I don't like to waste ink, so I'm going to come in here, and first of all, I think because it's a round vase, I don't think I'm going to do a round table. I'm going to sort of have it at an angle, come down like this. And I'm just doing it in this, whatever this ink color is that I just had handy. But then I could go into some of that brown, some of that dark yellow. But I do like bringing some of the colors from the painting into the table. I don't want it to match it, but it's nice when it sort of all goes together. And then what you can do is put something even a little bit darker. I'm going to add 1 drop of black to this. And I get sort of a, ooh, that is pretty black. Maybe I'll just bring some of that over here into this. And I'm just going to go underneath here like a little shadow. So the shadow is sort of underneath and to one side. And then I have a little bit of this pinky color, and maybe I'll just do a little, no, I'm not going to do anything. I love the flowers, how they turned out. So I wanted to show you quick what they look like matted, because matting makes all the difference. Look at that. Whoops, let me get it up a little bit higher so you can actually see it. So that is this first one. Love it. Now I could do more detail on the flowers, and maybe I will. Otherwise I can just sort of leave it very loose like that. This is the second one, and I'm just going to, I like the simplicity of it. Let me get it up a little bit there. Just like, or, you know, I wish I had maybe done it off to the center, but I can actually mat it off to the side a little bit. Love that. And this one, get this up higher. This one, again, I think I would probably pull it over a little bit, maybe not too much. And I'm going to do, yeah, I like that. I don't know, I'm seeing this right here. I might put something back there, but otherwise I like that too. So I hope that you learned a couple little tips for the vases, for the foliage, for flowers, and just sort of how to be really loose and working on a couple pieces at a time really is beneficial, because while one thing is drawing, you can go on to the other. You're not too invested in just one. You're going from one to the other, and you're just going to be a little bit more creative. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.